New York City, 1955. Winter morning. The neighborhood Playhouse School of Theater sits on East 54th Street. Red brick building. Iron fire escapes zigzagging down the facade like scars. Inside, wooden floors that creak with history. The smell of dust and old stage makeup. Radiators hissing against the cold. Sanford Meisner's classroom. 20 students sit in a half circle. Most are in their early 20s, hungry, desperate, convinced they're the next Marlon Brando. They dress like actors, black turtlenecks, scarves, berets, the uniform of artistic seriousness. One student sits apart from the others, Robert Duvall, 24 years old, crew cut, clean shaven, looks like he just left the Marines. No turtleneck, just a simple white shirt, work boots. He doesn't talk much, doesn't socialize, just watches, listens, takes it all in. But what he doesn't know yet is about to change everything. Meisner walks in, 49 years old, sharp eyes that see through pretense. He's trained some of the best, Gregory Peck, Grace Kelly. His method is brutal, simple, real. He calls it living truthfully under imaginary circumstances. Most students don't understand what that means. They think acting is about performing, about showing emotion. Meisner knows better. Today's exercise is simple. Two students, one wants something, the other won't give it. That's it. No script, no preparation, just instinct and truth. The first pair goes up. A young man and woman. They're good, trained. They use their voices. Project, emote, big gestures, theater gestures, the kind that reach the back row. When they finish, the class applauds. They look pleased with themselves. Meisner says nothing. Just watches Robert Duvall. You, the quiet one. Get up. Robert stands, doesn't hesitate, walks to the center of the room. His footsteps sound different, solid, grounded, not the light bounce of someone performing, the heavy step of someone who's actually lived. This is the moment everything changes for Robert Duvall. Meisner pairs him with another student, a tall, theatrical young man named Lawrence. Lawrence has done Shakespeare, has presence, knows how to command a space. Meisner gives them the scenario. Lawrence, you're at home. Robert, you're his brother. You need money. Rent is due tomorrow. You have nowhere else to go. Go. Lawrence settles into character, takes a breath, prepares his emotional state. This is what he's been trained to do. Robert just starts. Doesn't prepare, doesn't breathe. Just walks toward Lawrence like the scenario is already real, like rent actually is due tomorrow. I need $300. His voice is flat, no emotion, no pleading, just fact. The way you tell someone the sky is blue. Lawrence responds with theatrical concern. Brother, I've told you before, I need $300. Robert says it again. Same tone, flatter somehow, more desperate by being less desperate. The repetition itself becomes the pressure. Lawrence falters. He's been interrupted. The script in his head is gone. He doesn't know what to do. Wait, don't miss this detail. What Robert Duvall is actually doing in this scene. I don't have, Lawrence tries. You have it. Robert doesn't raise his voice, doesn't move closer, just stands there, looking at Lawrence, really looking, not actor looking, human looking. The way you look at someone when your entire life depends on their answer. The class is silent. This doesn't feel like acting. It feels like watching something private, something real. Lawrence breaks character, laughs nervously. I'm sorry, I need to start again. Meisner says, no. Continue. Lawrence is stuck. He doesn't know how to continue without his preparation, without his emotional roadmap. Robert waits, doesn't break, doesn't step out of the scene, just waits. Like someone actually waiting for $300 they actually need. Finally, Lawrence says, I can't give you money every time you... This is the last time. 4 words. Robert delivers them with such quiet certainty that everyone in the room believes it. Believes he'll never ask again. Believes this is the moment everything changes. Lawrence, the trained actor, the one with technique and projection and presence, has nothing. He's been dismantled by simplicity, by truth, by someone who isn't acting at all. Meisner stands, walks to the center. Stop. What you're seeing right now is nothing. Robert Duvall's real struggle is just beginning. He looks at the class. What did you just see? The students don't know what to say. They saw Robert win, they saw Lawrence lose, but they don't understand why. Meisner turns to Robert. Where are you from? San Diego, sir. Military family. You know anything about acting? No, sir. I studied drama at Principia College, but this is my first real training. Meisner nods, looks at the class. This man has something most of you will never have. He doesn't need to perform truth. He lives it. He gestures to Lawrence. You, excellent technique, beautiful voice. But you're so busy acting that you forgot to be. Him? Points to Robert. He doesn't know enough to fake it, so he just tells the truth. And truth is the only thing that matters on stage. The class is silent. Some students look impressed. Others look threatened. They've spent years developing technique, studying voice, movement, emotional preparation, and this quiet man with a crew cut just destroyed all of it with 4 words. You haven't seen Robert Duvall's biggest surprise yet. After class, several students approach Robert, ask how he did it, what his technique was. Robert doesn't know what to tell them. He doesn't have technique. He just listened to the scenario and believed it, responded honestly. Didn't try to be interesting or dramatic or theatrical. Just tried to get $300 from someone who didn't want to give it. One student, older, more experienced, pulls Robert aside. You know you'll never make it in Hollywood with that approach, right? Robert looks at him. Why not? Because Hollywood wants stars, presence, charisma. You're too ordinary, too quiet. Leading men don't look like you. They look like Cary Grant, Rock Hudson, men who fill a screen just by standing there. Robert doesn't argue, doesn't defend himself, just says, maybe. The student continues, I'm just being honest. You're good in class, great even. But this is a classroom. The real world is different. You'll be competing against people with looks, with presence, with that indefinable quality that makes cameras love them. You don't have that. Robert nods. Thank you for your honesty. He walks away. Doesn't look upset. Doesn't look discouraged. Just walks away. And processing information like a soldier processing intel. When the door knocked, Robert Duvall's life was about to change. That night, Robert sits in his small apartment, 1 room, shared bathroom down the hall. He has $17 to his name. Rent is due in 3 days. He needs $60. The irony isn't lost on him. The scene from class wasn't that far from reality. He thinks about what the student said, about Hollywood, about leading men, about not having what it takes. Part of him knows the student might be right. Robert doesn't look like a movie star, doesn't have that quality, whatever that quality is. But another part of him, the part that carried him through military school, through college, through every hard thing he's ever done, knows something else, knows that truth is stronger than charisma. That craft is more reliable than presence, that if he can just keep showing up, keep working, keep finding truth in every scene, something will happen. He doesn't know what, doesn't know when, but something. 2 days later, Robert gets called for his first professional audition, off-Broadway production, small part, 3 lines, he goes, doesn't prepare anything special, just listens to the scene, believes it, says the lines the way a human would say them, not the way an actor would. He gets the part. The voice on the phone was familiar, but it wasn't the person Robert Duvall expected. The production runs for 6 weeks. Robert makes $40 a week, enough to pay rent, enough to eat, enough to keep training with Meisner. The reviews barely mention him. He has 3 lines. But the director notices something, notices that when Robert is on stage, even silently, there's weight, reality. Something that makes the fantasy around him feel more real. The director recommends him to another director. That director casts him in another small part, 4 lines this time, then 6, then a full scene. Each time, Robert does the same thing. Listens, believes, responds truthfully. Doesn't try to be interesting. Just tries to be real. 1956 becomes 1957. 1957 becomes 1958. Robert works constantly, never leading roles. She always supporting, always the neighbor, the soldier, the background character who delivers information and disappears. He makes enough to survive. Barely. His apartment never gets bigger. His life never gets easier. But he's working. He's learning. He's building something. But the most shocking thing is the choice Robert Duvall made. In 1959, a casting director sees him in a small production, calls him in for a television show, Naked City, crime drama. He'd play a street thug, 2 scenes. Robert goes to the audition, sees 30 other actors, all of them look the part. Leather jackets, slicked hair, that dangerous quality casting directors love. Robert shows up in his regular clothes, work boots, simple shirt, looks like someone's mechanic, not a street thug. The other actors glance at him, dismiss him. This guy, he's not even trying. They're right. He's not trying. He's just being. When it's his turn, Robert walks in. The casting director looks up, frowns. "You're here for the thug." "Yes, ma'am. You don't really look like—" She stops, reconsiders. "Oh, okay. Let's see what you got." Robert does the scene, doesn't play tough, doesn't try to be menacing, just plays a man who's made certain choices and now has to live with them. Plays exhaustion, resignation, the quiet violence of someone who's been violent so long it's just routine. When he finishes, the casting director is silent. Then she says, "That was the most frightening thing I've seen all day." Robert gets the part. You won't believe this, but Robert Duvall actually turned down that role at first. Naked City airs. Robert's scenes are brief, maybe 4 minutes total. But people notice, critics notice, who is that actor? They ask. The one who looks like he's actually lived this life? More auditions come, more small parts. Television, theater, always supporting, never the lead. Robert doesn't complain, doesn't push for bigger roles, just keeps working, keeps learning, keeps finding truth in every scene, no matter how small. 1962, Robert gets cast in To Kill a Mockingbird, another supporting role. Boo Radley, the mysterious neighbor who never speaks, barely appears on screen. Most actors would consider it a throwaway part. Robert sees it differently, sees an opportunity to create an entire human being with almost no dialogue, with just presence, just truth. He prepares differently than he's ever prepared before. Doesn't develop a character, develops a life, a full life, childhood, trauma, years of isolation. He knows Boo Radley's entire story, even though none of it will be on screen. He knows it because when the moment comes, when he finally appears, all of that history needs to be visible in his eyes. The film is released. Critics rave about Gregory Peck, about the children, about Harper Lee's story. Robert's scenes are maybe 3 minutes total, but everyone who watches remembers Boo Radley, remembers that final scene, that moment of quiet humanity that makes the entire film resonate, that look in Robert Duvall's eyes. Robert doesn't become famous from Mockingbird, doesn't become a star, but something shifts. Directors start calling him specifically, not for leading roles, for the roles that require truth, the roles that need weight, the roles where someone has to be absolutely real or the entire film falls apart. 1972, Francis Ford Coppola is casting The Godfather, the role of Tom Hagen, the family lawyer, the adopted son, the consigliere. It's crucial. It's the moral center of the film, the voice of reason in a world of violence. Coppola has seen Robert's work, knows he can deliver truth, but the studio wants a star, someone with box office appeal, someone who will sell tickets. Robert Duvall? Who's that? The guy from The Small Parts, the character actor? Coppola fights for him, shows the studio Robert's work, the quiet intensity, the absolute believability, the way he makes every scene feel real. Finally, reluctantly, they agree. Give him the part, but make it clear. This is a risk. If he doesn't deliver, it's on Coppola. Robert delivers. The Godfather becomes the biggest film of the year, of the decade, one of the greatest films ever made. And while Brando and Pacino get the headlines, everyone in the industry notices Tom Hagen, notices the quiet man who holds the entire family together, who provides the moral weight, who makes you believe this fantasy world is real. Robert gets his first Oscar nomination. Supporting actor. Doesn't win. Doesn't matter. The nomination itself is vindication for 17 years of small parts, for choosing truth over charisma, for being told he'd never make it and showing up anyway. As security approached, Robert Duvall turned around. 1983, Tender Mercies. Robert plays Max Sledge, a broken-down country singer trying to rebuild his life. Small film, tiny budget, shot in rural Texas, no special effects, no action, just a man trying to find redemption, just truth. Robert doesn't play broken, he lives it. Moves through scenes with the weight of actual failure, actual regret, speaks in that flat, honest way he's perfected over 3 decades, never asks for sympathy, never performs suffering, just exists as someone who suffered and somehow survived. The film is released quietly. No major marketing, no expectations. Critics see it, audiences see it, and slowly, quietly, it becomes clear that Robert Duvall has created something extraordinary, not a performance, a human being. March 1984. Academy Awards. Robert is nominated for Best Actor, 5th nomination overall. He's sitting in the audience, doesn't expect to win, never expects to win, just honored to be nominated. The envelope opens. Robert Duvall, Tender Mercies. He stands, walks to the stage, that same quiet walk from 30 years ago, from Meisner's classroom, from the first audition, from every scene where he chose truth over performance. He accepts the Oscar, gives a brief speech, thanks his family, thanks Meisner, thanks everyone who gave him a chance when he was just the quiet guy who didn't look like a star. Backstage, a reporter asks him, "How does it feel? After all these years?" Robert thinks about the question, about the student who told him he'd never make it, about the $17 in his pocket, about Meisner saying truth is all that matters. He says, "It feels like showing up paid off. Everyone learned the truth, but the real shock was Robert Duvall's reaction." 2015, Robert Duvall is 84 years old, still working, still choosing roles based on truth, not size, still showing up, still finding that quiet intensity that makes audiences believe. A young actor approaches him at an event, asks for advice, says, "I keep getting told I don't have what it takes, that I'm not right for Hollywood, not charismatic enough, not special enough." Robert looks at him, really looks, the way he's looked at scene partners for 60 years, sees the fear, the doubt, the hope. He says, "Let me tell you something. In 1955, a student told me I'd never make it, said I didn't have that indefinable quality. He was right. I didn't have it, still don't." The young actor looks confused. "But what I did have," Robert continues, "was the ability to show up, to listen, to tell the truth. That's not indefinable. That's just work. And work, if you're patient enough, eventually becomes something that looks like magic." He pauses. "You don't need to be special. You just need to be true. Keep showing up, keep working, keep finding honesty in every scene. And 48 hours from now, or 48 years from now, you'll look back and realize you made it. Not because you were special, because you were true." The student from 1955 was right about one thing. Robert Duvall never became a traditional Hollywood star, never developed that indefinable quality, never filled a screen just by standing there. But he became something better. He became real. And real, it turns out, is more powerful than special, more lasting than charisma, more valuable than all the indefinable qualities combined. Because 70 years later, we're not remembering the stars of 1955. We're remembering Robert Duvall, the quiet man who chose truth, who showed up, who proved that the only quality that really matters is the courage to be honest. What about you? Are you waiting for permission to be special? Or are you ready to just show up and be true? Because that classroom in 1955 taught us something. The fastest path to greatness isn't charisma, it's truth. And truth doesn't need 48 years to prove itself. Sometimes it only needs 48 hours. Sometimes it only needs 4 words. "I need $300. That's all it took for Robert Duvall to show the world what real acting looks like. What are your 4 words?